Welcome, everyone, to AnoAni. We still don't know the name of that anime we saw that day. Here on the Mighty Loading Ready Live Video Entertainment Network, my name is Ian Horner, and joining me are the panel of weebs.
That's our name now.
What do we got here?
I'm Brendan Beej Deary.
I'm Heather Deary.
I'm Ian.
I'm Coriander Dickinson.
And I'm Ian Horner.
Yeah.
Let's make that very clear.
Good.
This is not your standard anime review show, because, first off, we're only going to be doing this seasonally, which means about 4 times a year. We're going to cover our favorite shows from the past season, and we're going to cover the 3 shows we are looking forward to most from an upcoming season. That means everyone only gets to talk about 6 shows.
Ultimately, yeah.
Ultimately. So this show is not going to be comprehensive. It's just going to be retrospective, pre-prospective.
Yeah.
Hopefully chill and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even our favorite
Yeah.
anime from the last season.
All about
it's
what we want to talk about.
what we want to talk about
Yeah.
from the last season.
Yeah. I mean, I came at my list thinking, like, what are the things that I would want people to watch? And it might even be things that are not necessarily, like, at the front of the list, right? Stuff that's not in the queue where it's like, oh yeah, I think people should be watching X things.
Do you have some examples?
I do, actually. Though I think most people might
or
have
rather,
ended up,
do you have some choices?
might have ended up watching this, Amaama to Inazuma, which translates as Sweetness and Lightning. It is a story about a young single dad who is a school teacher, and he has a young daughter, and his wife tragically passed away at some point a few years prior to the series happening.
6 months.
6 months, yes, okay, good.
Very recently.
Quite recently. He's dealing with the loss as best that he can because it's still quite recent, and he's trying to juggle having a kid and going to work and, and then cooking for her and doing all that other kind of stuff, but he's just not good at doing any of the stuff because his wife was handling all that. And he's just kind of noticing that his daughter's not doing so well. He wishes he could cheer her up. They run into a young woman at a flower viewing, and he's kind of, they get to talking, and she says, oh, why don't you come by our restaurant sometime? So he's like, sure, I'm going to come by. So he comes by the restaurant sometime. He's like, I have nothing to make for my daughter. So they come by, and he's like, yeah, can we come in? And she's there, and she's like, I'm sorry, but, we're not open. But then they cook some food together, and she's like, why don't you just come back all the time, and then I have someone to eat with, and I can teach you how to cook. And so it is a show about cooking. And it is a show about family relationships, and it's it's a show about raising a young girl, and it's very cute, and the cooking's really good, and I really highly recommend it actually because I've been reading the manga forever, and I really think it comes across quite well. All the food cooking is fantastic, and you get to learn a little bit how to cook.
I'm going to point out that I think she's a high school student,
Yes.
doesn't actually know how to cook. Her mom is a celebrity cook and leaves the recipes that are easily to follow for her.
Yeah.
In fact, she's afraid of knives
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
does not want to chop things, but he can chop things.
Before
Sort
he's an
of.
adult.
She knows how,
So that
and-
makes
but
sense.
She does not want to.
Everybody has their place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody handles their whole thing, and the daughter sings magical songs to help everything cook faster.
So cute. She likes magical girl stuff, so she's just basically being a tiny magical child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. If you, we were talking about this earlier, and one of the downsides of the show is that you don't get recipes, but you do get to see, like, oh, you're gonna need this and this and this, like vaguely, and then you can watch them cook, and they talk about cooking and how difficult the things are to do it.
Yeah, it seems to me that this isn't a show that's actually about cooking. This is a show that's about being a family.
Yeah.
Half of the first, usually half of the show covers the relationship, and the other half covers the actual part of where we're cooking to kind of
Be together.
heal the wound. Yeah.
Yeah, like the togetherness that food brings family kind of thing.
But if you read the manga, at the end of the chapters, whatever they've cooked, they provide an actual detailed recipe with actual amounts, which is, I think, quite handy. So I recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. Other thing that I would recommend is Cheer Danshi. And Cheer Danshi is a story of... It starts with 2 boys who give up judo because one of them is never going to be better than his sister. And his buddy says, hey, I know, why don't we form a men's cheerleading group?
Right.
And it's not like... Oh, and Don, like the classic men's cheerleading. This is
like actual cheerleaders.
yeah, this is
like,
Western cheerleading,
Yeah,
right?
sis, boom, ba.
Exactly, and they learn how to do tricks, and they're teaching themselves, which is a stupid idea.
Do they bring it on again?
Or do they step up?
I never saw either of those movies. I'm sorry. But I think it's really good. It's university students. It's a bunch of guys just kind of being young and in the prime of their life.
Yeah, I remember seeing the preview for this last season.
And
It's very colorful.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I think it's really well. Like the art is wonderful. The animation is good when it needs to be because obviously they're very active.
Every character is broken in some way.
So much midriff.
And all the characters, they're not all identical. Like, they're not all drawn like exactly the same way. There's a guy who's heavy, there's a guy who's quite skinny, there's guys who are taller and shorter.
Okay. So a little bit of variation there.
Exactly.
They draw some of them in weird shirts.
Yeah.
Like consistently, the shirts
Because
are
they're not
kind
high
of
school,
weird.
so they're not in like school uniforms all the time.
which is also fun.
The amount of midriff that we're seeing in this preview reflect its way out in the show?
It's
How much midriff is there?
not
5%.
yeah.
Which season of Prince of Tennis are we talking about?
This reminds me
Or
of...
Prince of Tennis to free. How far are we?
This is not free.
This
Nowhere near
this to me
free.
looks like it's going to be a K-On! For girls.
Yeah, it really isn't because
Okay.
they're actually doing things. Yeah.
They don't
Okay.
really have tea. They do
No.
go to a curry shop a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
They learn, they're learning how to do this. You can watch them do the exercises. You can watch the guys get really frustrated that they can't do the exercises, they can't do the stunts. They're trying to teach themselves, which, like I mentioned before, is really stupid because it's really dangerous. And all these plot points come up, and everybody has their own personality, and they all are trying to become better people because, like you said, they're all broken in some way.
Yeah. They all have things that they wish to get over, and together they will find a way to do that through the power of cheering.
So none of them develop a special move that's basically magic. right?
No, they don't. It's cool. It's actually in the beginning. You
Unless
watch
you
them,
count jumping.
You watch them constantly fail at the beginning, which is great because
That sounds like fun.
it's like Beck, right?
Okay.
I mean, I had my problems with Beck because it's like, oh look, that guy turned into a rock god in like a season, and I was like, but
You had problems with this one too.
I did because they were getting better at it faster than I thought that they should.
No, the problem you said you had was that as each new person they brought into the group was like, oh, coincidentally, you know how to tumble.
Already at the skill level?
Coincidentally,
Yeah.
you were probably in a cheer group before and can help us succeed into this thing. Oh, coincidentally, you know how to do that thing that we really could use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no room for struggle against. We need to find somebody to fill a certain role because the only ones who are struggling to fill the role are really the two main characters. They're going to be flyers.
Right, it's their story then.
Yeah, it's their. Yeah, I really like it. We only watched up to about the 8th or 9th episode, which is where they replace the ending sequence with them actually doing their first routine.
Okay.
And you get to see them do it on stage. It's at like the local, like the cultural festival the university has. So it's them showing off, hey, we learned how to do a routine. We're going to cheer. Let's do that. I think it's really energizing, I think. And it is interesting to watch these guys. Nobody has a terribly horrible dramatic arc that's really just kind of like brings the whole show to a screeching halt. They kind of just keep pushing through and moving through, which is very nice.
Well, and that cheer sequence is really good because it shows how they're beginner. Like they have some coordination, but they're slipping a little bit. They're fumbling. They're not perfectly in sync.
Which means they had to animate all that too, which I thought was great because it's like, oh yeah, you get none of that for free. You had to show that they're slightly out of sync. They're not doing something quite the same way. And I'm like, that's a sign that you guys really like. They had to buckle down and get so many animators, I'm sure, and whip them through actually doing this. But yeah, I recommend Danshi. And then the third one on my list is Fukigen na Mononokean. Fukigen na Mononokean.
Which translates as?
The morose Mononokean. Are you glad you asked?
Yes.
Good. So, Fukigen na Mononokean is it's about a young guy who he attracts spirits, and one of them gets stuck on him, and he just gets like sicker and sicker over time, and then he meets a guy at his school who's like, oh yeah, I see the problem, and he's able to help him because it turns out this kid at his school is the Mononokean. He's the master of the Mononokean.
Yeah, because the Mononokean is actually a separate thing of its own.
Yeah, the Mononokean is a magic room.
Okay.
Fukigen no
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So the Mononokean is a magical room that, it might actually be a couple of rooms, but we can see that as one room. And he, the master, that's the blonde guy there, he runs this room. And what he can do is he can move back and forth between the underworld, where all the yokai live, and to the normal world. And he's human, so he lives in the normal world, but somehow he was made the master, and it hasn't become clear as to why he's been made the master. But ultimately, he helps the black-haired guy, and he says, okay, now you owe me like X number of money. And he's like, I don't have that much money. He's like, great, you now work part-time for me.
Right.
Fox dollars.
Yeah, and it's...
Well, yes, because you have to pay in the currency of hell, or
Yeah,
it's not
something-
human currency that he's using.
Yeah.
That he wants.
So it's great. They've built a really interesting universe. It's friggin' gorgeous. When they go to the underworld, it's amazing. And I love that. Like, I've been really into these dramatic comedy yokai shows, where it's like yokai are not sinister, like they can be bad, they can be scary in their own way, but we're gonna bleed a lot of that off, because we'd rather you just see that they are these beings and that they have a thing that they perform, and they're still scary, but they also have their own wants, their own needs. And there are other shows, like a lot of other shows, and a lot of other manga that do this kind of thing.
Kiitarou no Gegege.
Yeah, right? Like, it's like being the classic example. And so I thought that this was a really cool show, mystical, different, definitely worth watching as well.
Yeah, I really like the way they start it, because, as Beej said, there's a little yokai that attaches himself to his shoulder that he actually finds in the street on the way to school. It's his first day of school.
That one there. Yep.
Like you see,
The fuzzy one.
Yeah, which he calls Fuzzy. It's his first day of school, and it's very like, yeah, I'm so and so. This is my first day of school. I'm gonna make friends. And he never makes it to the school gate. He keeps fainting from his energy being. So he spends the first 2 weeks
Trying to get closer and closer to the gate.
in the nurse's office, so no one in the school knows who the hell he is. So he can't make friends. Like, he was so happy to.
Yeah, I think it's great. I really like it.
A little bit like Spirited Away.
It is. There's a lot of that feeling. Like, that's what I loved about Spirited
I'm
Away as
noticing a
well.
lot of those the similar character designs of some of the underworld
Yokai.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I am done then. That's my 3.
Ooh.
All right, I only have 2,
Oh.
because I really, the ones I would have talked about either Beej had, or I didn't really want to talk about. So my first one is Handa-kun.
Handa-kun.
Yeah. It's spelled like panda, but it starts with an H.
See, now when I first saw this, I thought this was going to be about Handa.
From Polar Bear Cafe.
That would have been good.
Well, it's not.
So
It's about a different Honda from a different show.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
His own Handa.
It's the prequel to Barakamon, the
Oh.
calligrapher
Yeah.
show where he goes to the island. Now he's in high school, and it's a comedy. He thinks everyone hates him in school, so he has an actual black physical barrier that will come down around him, but everybody in school thinks he's amazing because look how cool he is, and he always knows the right thing to say, but his inner voice is, everyone must hate me, oh, they are glaring at me, so I should run away. Here, this is my best friend, but I really should stay away from him because otherwise no one will be friends with him.
Is it the same best friend from
Yeah,
Barakamon?
it is. The reason everyone hates him, or no, the reason he thinks everyone hates him is his friend told him that.
Good friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
His friends was jerking him around just for fun.
Yeah. So the only thing I would say is if you've not read the manga, the first 10 or 15 minutes of the first episode really turned me off because it's a very there's a bunch of characters sitting around a table and they're like, oh, we're part of the Handa-kun club, and wait, we're getting an anime, and nobody told us about the anime, and they
Right.
spend a long time on that, and I was just like, oh, is this gonna be the whole show? Because I'm not gonna like this show.
Yeah.
But once you get past that, it gets good.
It was definitely for the people who are reading the manga
Right.
to be like,
Yeah.
because that doesn't show up in the manga. They're like, oh, we're getting an anime. Wait, we weren't consulted. We're going to make our own anime, and then they do, and it's obviously terrible.
Yeah, and they don't do that throughout the rest of the show, which I'm grateful for because I didn't read the manga, but I also don't understand, like, I get that you have a manga reading audience that will watch the show, and that's who's that's for, but I don't really think it needed to
It's
be
very
there or
self-aware
should have
of its
been
fan services.
there.
Yeah, it would have been better as like
didn't
an
like that.
OAV or something.
Because I also don't really care for a lot of gig anime,
Actually,
so it was pulling too hard.
It's interesting you
that.
bring that up because that's something that I'm going to be speaking of myself in one of my picks. But we'll get there.
My second pick is a show called Orange.
Okay.
It's a drama and a romance, and
Pretty AF.
it is very pretty. The main character, Naho, wakes up one morning and she has a letter from 10 years into the future from herself.
Oh, go good. I'm glad when I get those.
She gets a letter about this new transfer student, Kakeru, who, and it says, don't invite him to hang out with you guys after school today.
Right.
Of course, she's like, okay, no, that's weird. I'm gonna pretend. Their group does invite him, and then he's not at school for like the first 2 weeks, and then she starts to read further in the letter and finds out that 10 years in the future, she sent a letter back to herself to say, hey, I had some regrets. I really want you to change them. They kind of end up explaining the time traveling letters later in a weird way that's just kind of like whatever, that I'm ignoring.
Unimportant.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
should really
really.
just ignore that
It's
part.
really not
Okay.
important. But what I like about the show is that Kakeru is going through a lot of depression and loss, and essentially this is just, let's help him through that. Here's stuff you didn't notice then that I would really like you to help him through. Because
Right.
I liked him, but I didn't have the guts to tell him.
Okay.
And it's really sweet.
It's one of the only shows we've watched where you watch a character like go through an arc of depression. Like you watch somebody do that, and you also
Did you not see Welcome to the NHK?
Yeah.
yeah, but NHK
It's different, but
Yeah, this is very different because NHK was a comedy on top of being like dramatic. This one is not.
I think you need to watch some Gundam UC series too.
But anyway, but the point I was trying to make about this is that it was interesting to watch him come to school and be happy, like to be happy, and then to watch them explore what's actually going on. Like, because we never see the story, we never get anything from his perspective through the entire show until one episode.
So really, as a person who has had things where it's like you act one way in front of people, but you're really feeling a lot of other shit,
Yeah.
I think they capture that very well.
Okay.
And so I think it's worth watching.
Yeah, that does sound like a unique perspective then. And that's your
That's
retrospect-
my 2 picks because I'm not picking a third.
Okay, well I did go for 3, and I went big. Let's go predictable. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond Unbreakable Part 4.
Hey.
Oh, wow. After coming down from the high of Stardust Crusaders Egypt, I had no idea what to expect from this. Cori's read
I
the
did.
manga, and she was trying to tell me,
So excited.
it's so good, the scale is so small. Like, those 2 words that doesn't jive in my head, but
Because with like the Egyptian arc, the scale is like, you have to save the world
Yeah.
from vampires and gods and stuff,
And
right?
then so for all of this series up to this point now, it's just these high school kids derping around in their hometown, maybe sometimes killing a guy's father, but that's beside the point. The animation on it, I felt it stumbled a bit this season. It's not been as consistently pretty as the Egypt arc was. And I wasn't exactly as happy with the opening themes animation. They started really using their own hand-drawn animation rather than using the models from the video games. But
Those weren't from the video games. They made their own.
but computer animated models is what they've been using up to this point in the opening themes. And I'd gotten used to that. It's made up for by the songs themselves in the opening themes just being so good, with a slight dip in the third opening, Chase You, or Chase, was just not to my cup of tea. But the ending theme, getting Savage Gardens, I Want You,
Yeah.
and using it for the whole run so far has just
With an
been-
evolving, adapting theme. Like, a lot of the thing they do is, like, as characters are introduced, they get added to the opening and ending.
So, and these are characters that are developing over time, growing as people. It's not quite a coming of age, but it is certainly, I don't want to say that JoJo has a theme of growing to stand on your own,
Yeah.
It's a great pun.
It kind of does actually have that feel to it. Other than that, a couple other points I want to point out. It's super weird looking. You're going to get to see an old man flying around town holding an arrow because he's stuck in a picture.
Photograph, like a
Yes.
Polaroid.
Cool.
That's it goes exactly how I describe it.
All right. Cool.
And the casting in this has been fantastic. Everyone is perfect, but one standout has been Takahiro Sakurai as Rohan Kishibe. You may know him as Shirokuma or Polar Bear from Polar Bear Cafe.
Nice.
And every time he's on the screen, he has these two modes where he's either in just attack, completely aggressive mode, and then he'll scale back and he'll sound just like this kindly polar bear. And then he'll be just going after the somehow. It's a little bit jarring.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because as you know, I haven't really JoJo'd yet.
Yeah.
What did you think of the color palette?
The color palette, I think, finally hits that point that people like to... the Mimi JoJo stuff that used to be prevalent before the series really started gaining more popularity.
So like with the yellow skies and the, you know, and the...
It's not always like that, but it definitely transitions into it in a way that feels right and
Yeah.
isn't jarring.
They use it to, like, set the mood a lot of the time.
Well, yeah, because I mean that's kind of that's a very good use of a color palette is to make you feel a certain way. But then I guess the second question is this the most JoJo of the JoJos?
Not in my opinion.
No.
No, the Stardust Crusaders is still the most JoJo so far.
Okay.
But I understand that things are going to get different.
Because there's a second season.
Well, yes, there is a second season of this, but the next part is going to get more JoJo-y
Neat, okay.
in its own JoJo way. Second anime that I would like to bring up is Sakamoto desu ka, the movie. Because it's
There was a movie.
Yeah, we didn't realize there was going to be a movie, but my alert system just pulled it up for me, and it labeled it as episode 13.
Yep.
Yep.
Like, why is there this secret episode? Because it's technically an OAV, or as they called it, a movie. And it's really only another half hour of the TV series. We didn't know it was the movie because it started
As a clips
started as a
episode.
clip show.
How disappointing.
No!
No,
were
but
s- we
it
were
started. It started as a good clip show where it's like
Oh,
the
okay.
characters doing
here's
commentary
some
about
clip,
stuff that happened.
And they're in the movie theater, and it's laid out as if, well, okay, here's Sakamoto the movie. Oh well, if I were going to do a movie about Sakamoto, here's what it would be like from my perspective, and then you get clips from that feature that character.
Oh, okay.
And each of the groups of characters in the series do their own clip. And then they realize, well, yeah, making a movie about Sakamoto is really kind of dumb, so we shouldn't do this anymore. Let's go back to school. Hey, I wonder what Sakamoto's doing right now in America. Oh, he actually made it. I wonder what he's doing there. And then the rest of the episode is them imagining what he must be doing in America.
It's not what he's actually doing.
No.
Yeah, but it's the characters from the high school Americanized.
Yes. So they actually run through the first... So they're doing clips,
Yeah.
but fully reanimated in a different setting with different voice actors. And it's...
Yeah,
Can we go home and watch that
Yeah,
after
we
this?
will tonight.
Okay, good.
And this award, it gives me... got the best fake out from the season for that clip show introduction. And it's the episode that gave me the biggest feels so far this season. Because I remember back when Azumanga Daioh ended. That was my first introduction to actually getting to know characters and really feeling sad that I wouldn't get to interact with them anymore, get to see any more stories. And so I ended Sakamoto thinking, okay, well, this is the end of the series, and that felt sad that I wasn't going to get to hang out with Sakamoto anymore. And so getting this surprise episode just really...
Cramped
it
that
just
back up.
hit me
yeah, it's
right
like
in the chest.
like the Kill la Kill graduation episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing about this that I want
watched
to
that, so-
mention, I've been taking a little more interest in directors now and actual staff on series. And I looked into who directs Sakamoto Desuka, and it turns out it is Shinji Takamatsu, who you may know as the main director of Gintama,
Oh, nice.
which explains a lot of the,
Kind of stands to reason some of the...
the comedic stylings of this.
Yeah.
However, did you know that he also directed Gundam 0080, parts of Zeta, parts of Double Zeta, and was the assistant director on Char's Counterattack?
Oh, wow, he's been around for a while.
Yeah, the comment section under him was an equal amount of, man, this guy's comedic genius. Man, this guy needs to stop doing comedy so he can go back to doing mecha.
People have opinions.
Yeah.
So he's good.
He's really good at what he does, and what he does is comedy and mecha.
Nice, nice.
Okay, and round number 3, and probably, I can't call it my favorite, but it was certainly one of the best shows of the last season. That's Mob Psycho 100. And it's responsible for the second best meme of 2016, which was the redraw Reagan, this guy,
Yeah.
in different...
Yes, I've
Stock
seen
photos
those.
and memes.
Those have been good.
He is probably best anime dad at this point. By the way, first best anime meme of 2016 is To Be Continued, which is a JoJo Part 2 meme. Anyway, series director on this was Yuzuru Tachikawa, who worked on Chihaya Furu, Kill la Kill, and Lupin III, the lady named Fujiko Mine. Yeah.
Okay.
And this would have what I would call the best opening of the season.
It is
the
really
song
good.
is really
the,
good.
The song, I'm constantly singing it to myself.
Mob.
There
Mob.
is so much going on in the opening animation. You notice new things every time.
Yeah.
And it has a fantastically self-contained story that leaves itself open to another season, which clearly we're going to be getting if Time Warner has any sense in their head. But I would highly recommend watching this. It's all about feeling good, doing good, and growing.
I've read the manga for this, which is still going, is my understanding.
Yep.
And we've only seen one episode of the series
Okay.
because generally when we sit down to watch, we're going to watch stuff that we both want to watch.
Yeah. We
I
do that too.
I tend to not sit down and watch stuff on my own because it's timing-wise, it doesn't work out. And I really love the first episode that I watched. I was like, yeah, this really feels good. This really feels like a good adaptation of the manga. But having read to like chapter 97, the manga's leaving me cold.
Right.
And I'm hoping that if they make another series of this, and it kind of continues, is that the adaptation is what will actually improve the source material, much like with One Punch Man, which is One's other series, that when I would read like the first few chapters of One Punch Man, I was like, okay, I get it, I get the joke, I get the whatever. This is kind of cool, but whatever. And then to watch the series,
Yeah.
One Punch Man, the series, it was like, oh, no, I get this now. I actually see.
Seeing it in motion.
After seeing it move and after seeing everything happen on screen, I'm like, this makes more sense.
Yeah, for this series, I was
You
planning
almost
to
fell
drop it at after the third episode.
Yeah.
I was just like, it hasn't really got me. And then he was watching the fourth one, and I watched with him, and I was like, okay, I'm watching all of this now.
Nice.
Yeah. So it took a bit.
Huge emotional impact in this series as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's my 3.
All right. So I have 2. And I am going to start off with Mahoutsukai no Yome, Hoshi, Matsu, Hito.
Yeah. Or also
The Ancient Magus Bride, Those Awaiting a Star.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
you first.
I am dying to see this.
I'm dying
Okay,
to
yeah,
talk
so
about this.
I watched this based on...
Yeah.
Yes, I watched it.
No.
No. No, this is not it. Yeah, there's no bus and there's no little girls.
It's the other Maho.
Yeah. Mahoutsukai, so Mahou. There it is.
Yeah, that one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
As I said before, that is the one.
So yeah, I watched this based on the strength of the PV in the trailer and its description as a prequel for the manga.
Oh, really?
It's a prequel for Volume 5, I think,
Ah.
because it starts off in the midst of things. Like the PV makes it seem like, oh, they're going to go into backstory about how Chise is sold into slavery by her parents and then bought by the Magus to marry him or stuff like that. And it doesn't. It starts with her like waking up in bed and her familiar's already there, and she goes downstairs and there's already the maid character, and all of these characters have already been introduced, and they get a package from another character that is already well known. And
Yeah. Yeah, looking at this PV, I don't remember half of these scenes in the.
it's going to be a 3-part OVA,
But
but the first episode's the only one that's like up on places on Crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. I get a real like
they're
Spirited Away vibe a lot of the time.
they're really trying to be a Ghibli.
Yeah.
Feel to it.
There was a little bit of awkwardness with him like carrying her and like lifting her up and then like, tell me a story, tell me why this book is significant to you.
I got a lot
And then
of.
it just doesn't resolve that.
I got too much Moe vibe from it to feel good about this. I will keep watching it,
It
but
really doesn't look like a moe.
Nope.
it doesn't look like it. But that's the vibe I was getting from at least that one episode.
Yeah.
I think the complaints I've heard about the manga are from people who say from the beginning because they won't read anything past essentially the establishment of the story where it's sold into slavery by her parents and then bought to be a bride, and they're like, nope, I'm not reading it.
Right.
Because this seems like it's going to be every terrible.
The real reason is because she has magic power. She's the slay beggy,
Whatever. Yeah.
which means that she can absorb mana from her environment and cast spells, but it means she can only live for 3 years or something, and so he's training her. But yeah, he's
I mean,
all this other stuff.
that's a valid reason to not be interested in reading a thing.
Absolutely.
But
But I would have liked to have that in the anime.
yeah.
Just be like a little bit of information about what the hell's going on in this story.
Yeah.
Have you read the manga?
Nope.
Okay. I was thinking I should, and then when people said, "Oh, there's this in it," but
Yeah.
people said, "But it's really good," and I'm like, I can never trust what these assholes are saying. Whenever I go read the manga forums, I'm like, "It's really good though," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you guys say that about some other stuff."
Yeah,
It's-
don't watch this if you haven't read the manga. At all.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's probably worth watching because it's really pretty and it seems like a
Pretty,
good story.
Yeah,
Nice.
so far.
I reserve judgment.
There's probably the next episode's the decider.
Yeah.
The other pick is a Chinese movie that it technically aired. It came in theaters. It was very successful in China, and it's animated, and it's called Big Fish in Begonia. I'm not even going to attempt the Chinese name, which isn't very long, but I just don't want to try. I'm lazy. It is about on the day Chin turns 16, she's transformed into a dolphin to explore the human world. She's rescued by a boy, and he drowns, and she feels bad about it, so she wants to try to get his life back, and he is a tiny white fish that she has to raise.
It
And
looks
it's just,
really good.
It's just like massively fantastical and magical and beautiful. And I'm really excited to see this movie, but who knows, it could be a year before I get to see it. Yeah.
Right.
Much like Miss Hokusai.
And Your Name, which
Oh, yeah.
we'll also get to see when that eventually makes its way across here.
Yes. So beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to see Fish movie.
Until then, nothing but Ponyo.
I'm really interested to see where this goes, because this is... I don't normally look to China for my Asian animation.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
All right.
Anything else for
Nope,
this?
that is my 2 picks.
all right,
Okay, now we move into the future, or the
present.
the very close present.
Yeah.
Episode 1 has aired on almost all of these things by now.
Would you prefer to come back down the line or just go with me?
Let's go back
Go
to
to
you.
Beej.
All right.
Beej, you have things you like to talk about.
Yeah, let's good luck with this one, Paul. Kiitarou Shonen no Yokai Eniki.
Hey!
Yep.
Do you have an English title for this?
You know what? Give me a second.
Oh, okay.
If I
You're
can
not
Google
prepared.
translate.
I will bring up what they're.
I'm just
calling it
curious
elsewhere,
what its alternate might be.
so people can find it.
Yeah, so I'm not getting anything from the PV so far.
No,
I'm
it
getting,
was-
there's 2
it-
characters.
Yeah, I've only have the PV up essentially to show people
comedy.
what's going on. So
Oh yeah, very much comedy.
This, I believe, is in the shorts category, so let me just slide down
Comedy
there.
fighting. He's responsible for some ghost
Some
things.
sort of cactus ghost.
This is the visual diary of Kiitaro's experience with yokai. So Kiitarou Shonen is obviously the young boy Kiitarou.
Wait.
And his yokai Eniki.
Wait. This is Kiitarou.
No.
No, it is.
It's not Gegege no Kiitarou.
But it's the same Kiitarou with the one eye covered by hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The girl is the same. I can never remember her name. Yeah, this is the
Suzu?
same thing.
She's a Zashiki Watashi.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Wow, why does this exist?
So it's the visual diary of Kiitaro's experience with yokai. He's a boy with very strong spirit sense, but when he entered the Forbidden Storehouse, he was kicked out of his home. He soon found a new place to live, where he met a Zashiki Watashi, which is a house spirit named Suzu. He and Suzu soon began to attract all kinds of spirit creatures, starting with a Nurikabe, which is the wall that impedes travelers, and a Mokumokuren appears as eyes in a torn paper wall. What sort of folklore creature will he meet next?
Probably the shrew
The
type guy.
water one,
Yeah.
that weird one with the tongue.
There'll be a fox girl thing.
Yep.
Oh, there's always a fox girl in these.
I picked this specifically because of the yokai thing, and I was like, yeah, I want to watch another show about yokai that's also not freaky and weird and scary and trying to make me shit my pants. I'd rather just watch something that'll be fun. This looks fun. That's literally it.
There are better yokai shows.
I don't care if this is a reimagining of Gegege no Kiitarou. I don't care about any of this other stuff.
I know I've not seen any of this,
I'm
but
a-
it looks like a gag thing I don't want to watch.
And but this does trip my flag of if there is a remake of something that already exists, just watch the thing that already exists.
Yeah.
It's probably better. Next.
Yeah. I mean,
Next.
You won't know because
No.
you're clearly not going to watch it. but-
I mean, we're going to judge everybody's choices,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And to be honest, I watched a little Gegege no Kiitarou a while ago.
And it's old?
And it's very old, and it didn't grab me at all.
No.
It felt very Addams Family, and I
Yeah,
was just kind of like,
that's
I'm
what
not
it is.
really kind of into that. So, anyway, Nobunaga no Shinobi.
Wow, Nobunaga.
Nobunaga's ninja?
Because there is always a Nobunaga show
With a
on
ninja.
Japanese television.
Yep.
It's,
Oh.
it's literally Nobunaga's
Part of their
ninja.
constitution.
Yep. You have to revere Nobunaga, whether or not you're happy with what he did or not.
I thought you
looks
had to
cute.
hate or like
yeah,
him.
that's the thing. It's a gag manga series. I have no idea how long the episodes actually are. It centers on a young female ninja named Chidori, whose dream is to help the Warring States-era warlord Nobunaga to achieve his goals. That's it.
Yeah, this
That's all
seems
there is
fine.
to it. And it's just kind of a goofy gag series. And I wasn't going to pick this because I was like, oh, I'll pick this other thing, Stella no Maho, or I'll pick this or whatever. And then I went to go watch the PV of it, but it turns out it was like the 00 episode of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is actually kind of cute. I like this art style. I like the drawing. I like the voices.
Yeah, the Nobunaga character design looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Totally Nobunaga.
I think it's actually going to be really good. It's just, though it's a series of shorts, so it's not going to attract many people. And then the third one, did anyone pick Nyanbo?
No.
Good, I'm not going to talk about it, but Nyanbo is Danboro's cat from the Yotsuba
Why
series.
do I know? That's why I knew it.
Right.
And they're making a show.
Yep.
But you can't
Nyanbo.
Yeah, it's weird.
What's your actual pick?
My actual pick is Udon no Kuni no Kin-Ito Kemari.
So it's about udon?
Yeah, it's the Udon Kingdom. No Kin-Ito Kemari.
It's the one about the guy that goes back to his home
Yeah.
to make udon.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
He's probably making udon.
Yes,
Totally making udon.
this
Oh,
seemed
right. This is the
interesting to me.
fantasy-ish one.
Yeah, it's a fantasy slice of life. I didn't realize that when I saw it. Sota Tawara is a web designer working in Tokyo. When he visits his family's udon place in Kagawa Prefecture, he discovers a young boy. On confronting the boy, Sota soon learns his secret and decides to quit his job in order to take care of the boy, Poko. Why would you call a young boy Poko?
Because he's a tanuki.
Yes! The daily adventures of the two slowly unfold as Poko energetically navigates his way through Kagawa, the Udon Kingdom, along with Sota. Fantasy slice of life.
So no, really, the first PV we watched of this had only one scene where he was kind of like a tanuki, and it looked like it was just maybe a kid's imagination scene.
Yeah.
Until we watched the second PV where he was completely a tanuki through everything.
Yeah.
Is this like the Wolf Children?
Remember
Am I gonna cry?
I remember
I kind of hope
why-
so, but maybe not as sad as that.
I remember why I forgot about this because I checked out after this first line. Web designer goes to make udon. Great. Discovers a small. Nope.
I think this is going to be great. I think I get shades of Barakamon off of it. I
Yeah.
loved Barakamon.
I think you're gonna love this.
Yeah, this is right up my alley.
It's very much
I
a
might
Beej
watch
show,
this.
but I really like Ian's interpretation of, oh hey, a web designer goes to learn how to make udon. I would really like a show about that. This is a different show.
A guy who goes to change careers goes from web design to be an udon person.
That's adult doing adult things.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds like Space Brothers, but with udon.
Yeah.
This sounds like a cook show that's not about cooking.
Yeah.
Lightning and sweet tsunami.
It's a single dad manga.
Yeah, this is a healing anime.
Yep. Maybe, actually.
Maybe it looks like it could be. It's hard to say.
I just really love the idea of a small boy who's actually a tanuki, and I'm like, this is going to be good no matter what. So if this sucks, I can't wait to tell you about it in 3 months.
There's a reason the doctors tell you not to take medicine when you're not sick.
If that reason is that you turn into a tanuki, people are just going to take medicine when they're not sick, Ian.
I'm done with my 3.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of things that Ian might not like.
Lay it on us, Hodor.
No, I do like this new rating system.
It's a show called ClassicaLoid.
No. First of all, how much of this is about Back to the Future?
It's about musicians.
Okay, no, I'm still on board.
Okay. There's a small town that is trying to revitalize itself through music.
The roof is a piano.
ClassicaLoid versions of Beethoven and Mozart show up.
There's a shoe bill, so I'm... Okay, keep going.
ClassicaLoids will play music known as Mujik, which is M-U-J-I-K.
Music.
That makes stars fall and giant robots appear. Also, Bach, Chopin, and Schubert also show up.
Holy
So-
Tofu beats are involved?
I
Did I
only...
just change your mind?
No, I was on board from the minute I saw the shoe bill, and now everything you've been saying is just like...
Right? So truthfully,
so cool.
the reason I wanted to check it out was because of that terrible Bach game we played in Rhythm Cafe.
Revenge of Music.
But that would have been a better name for it. But and then I watched the PV and I'm like, you kidding? Beethoven looks awesome.
This looks so right up my alley.
Like, I saw this on the list, but I skipped it because it was called ClassicaLoid, and I was just like, this is
I
gonna be
know,
some
right?
Vocaloid
It's a
crap. that I
terrible
don't
name.
want.
No, this is... I have to write this down right now.
Yeah, ClassicaLoid.
Classica.
ClassicaLoid.
Yeah.
ClassicaLoid.
No, it's ClassicaLoid.
No, literally in the title it had Classica with an A on the end.
ClassicaLoid.
Classical, because they're
That's
classical
not how they
musicians.
wrote it in the website,
Yep,
I
so I don't
know.
know.
I'm going... Oh, that you...
But yeah, apparently there's 2 high school students involved in this somewhere, but
Who
I
cares?
don't
Nobody
know
cares.
if I care about that.
Everyone's so enthusiastic, and that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Now then this is my opportunity to shit on this because this looks dumb.
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping. I want it.
Just you wait.
I am hoping.
I will be watching this with Heather as well.
When has that ever stopped any of
That's
us?
the thing, right? Like it's like I skipped this because I was like, this
That's
does
my
not.
brand.
It does not sound like a plot that I'm at all interested in, especially the idea of the mecha, because I'm never hot on mecha shows generally. But yeah, given everyone's enthusiasm, like I will watch it so I can have an opinion later.
It has a really great art style.
I haven't had a chance to read all the people who did the music, but it looks like it's got a fairly... If Tofu Beats is involved, there's going to be some pretty good music in here to begin with.
So that was my first pick. My second pick is Natsume Yuujinchou
Yep.
Yeah.
Go, which is basically Natsume's Book of Friends Season 5. If you're unfamiliar, Natsume can see spirits. He inherited that power from his grandmother, who created this book of friends by bullying spirits to write down their names so that she could make them go into servitude. And now he has this book. He's returning those names to the spirits. There is a cat that he calls Nyanko Sensei. The cat has a completely different name that I can't remember.
And transforms.
Yeah, the cat wants the Book of Friends because he wants to have power over these yokai. And Natsume has said, well, you can have it after I die. So there's this constant, well, maybe I'll just let you die then, and then I will have this book, but I keep protecting you for some reason. It's a...
He also threatens to eat him, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a few
Yeah.
times. He's also like a drunkard and several other stereotype anime old man
there's
things.
like
Old man things, not cat things.
Yeah.
He's a cat.
There's like a real there is like a real reason why he won't actually just straight
Yes.
up kill Natsume.
Well, it's because he loved his grandmother.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys live in a haunted house?
No.
No.
Because there's a lot of yokai
Yes.
shows going on.
Okay, but this is a really nice one where he tries to befriend the yokai and then sometimes he can't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's just trying to dissolve their contracts. Like he's trying to get rid of this book.
Boston
And-
makes him feel good.
Yes.
I really liked the first season and the second season, and then when they brought out more, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Fourth season stopped a while ago, so I wasn't expecting a fifth season to show up.
I didn't
So
know.
I'm very happy
It's
that
just a very
there's one
easy
season.
thing to
I
watch.
didn't know that this went on for 5 seasons. I thought it shut down after 1. So, yay.
Oh no, it came out with like I think a couple years back they came out with a box set on Right Stuff that was really nice and had like a Book of Friends type feel to it.
And now they've added a completely new series, and you can just throw away that box set.
I bet the spines don't match either.
So my third choice
Man.
is Maha Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku, which is the one with the girls on the bus.
Oh.
That was not the one that Cori was talking about earlier. So I was having trouble picking a third one because I was like, okay, well, there are 3 shows that I think are kind of similar in a lot of ways. One's about future VR, one's about Magical Art Boys, and this one is a Magical Girl Project
That explains
thing.
your tweet earlier.
Yeah. So I'm kind of interested in this one because of the magical girl element, but also because of how implausible everything I read in the description was. In the anime, there is a social game called the Magical Girl Raising Project that lets 1 in tens of thousands of people be a magical girl, which means that's a terrible social game. There is one district that has 16 of them for some reason, which doesn't really make sense if there's only 1 in tens of thousands to me.
Just bad
But
server balancing.
the administration wants to halve the number of magical girls because they're having an magical energy problem. And so there's some kind of rule set, I think, that gets put into place where they need to collect more magical candy than all the others. And then the rules get twisted somewhere and it becomes a fight survival thing. It's probably going to be tournament style with magical girls.
Again, a thing I would not have glanced at.
Or we're going to get a Madoka situation where people just die one by one.
Not that many people die in Madoka.
Everyone dies in Madoka.
Several times
that's
over,
also
but they come
true.
back.
Everyone dies millions and millions of times.
This gave me like a real sense of Mirai Nikki.
Okay, but that's still pretty dark.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of thought was going to happen here.
Yeah,
Is it's
like,
like,
I
they're going to
think-
have to pick each other off one by one, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the intention is that it's supposed to be a darker series. Starts probably lighthearted within the first episode because I'm sure it's like based on the PV. I think the girl probably becomes a magical girl, runs around. She helps I think she helps a grandmother cross the street kind of deal.
Yeah.
Right.
And then one day there's like a notification on her thing. It's like, by the way, this is what's happening now.
Fight for candy.
But I don't know.
Fight
It could be good.
yeah,
I'm hoping it's good.
I will sit and watch some of it with you.
It's good.
Yeah,
I will watch all of it without you if you don't want
that's
to.
fair.
I will wait till the end and see what you
Yeah.
Yeah,
see
that's
what,
fair.
what happens.
I think it's really hard for someone to say that, oh, this will be the new Madoka, right?
I don't think anyone should aim to be Madoka,
No,
but
Yeah.
there's plenty
No.
of series
That-
that can mess with the magical girl trope.
That's what's
Yeah.
worrying me about this. Is it feels like this isn't. I have to wait and see, but it feels like it might not be messing enough with
Yeah.
to be a new story.
Like, what if it's a try hard and it doesn't actually deliver anything that's interesting or new?
But we don't.
I
know.
mean, it's hard to tell when there's potentially 16 characters at least involved.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
a
why
lot.
we have friends to watch things for us first, regardless of whether or not they take our advice,
Unless it's classic.
Our advice is to have lots of friends.
and then give them back their names.
That's my
Those are
3
your 3?
picks.
Okay. First up on my list is Sangatsu no Lion,
Yes.
Yes.
or Three Gatsu no Lion. I can't remember which word I use. I don't know very much about this.
I've read the manga.
I know it involves shogi, which is someone being good at something and adults doing adult things. So those are good things. It's about a boy who apparently is good at shogi, but doesn't go to school, doesn't interact with friends. It's all he does, and has a hard time dealing with his family. And so it'll be a bit of column A and a bit of column B, it looks like, especially from the previews going on. What caught my attention about this series is the distinctive character design, which people may recognize as being created by... Did I write it down? I didn't write it down. Wow, thanks, autocorrect. China Union. That's not the person's name. But if you look up Hachimitsu to Clover, or Honey and Clover,
Right.
Which is one of Ian's favorite series of all time.
Eden of the East.
Oh,
It's
Which
the
was a
same-
good series.
Okay.
It's the
Yeah.
same mangaka behind that.
Yeah, I get like a very Honey and Clover vibe from this series.
And that mangaka is very into exploring ideas of growing up and I guess becoming an adult and living as an adult and what that means in terms of changing your relationships with people. Sorry, Paul?
Chika Umino?
Thank you. Yes. It's a pseudonym, so I guess it's okay to use the wrong words. It looks like it's going to be a shogi sports anime, but with a focus on, again, that interpersonal relationship, and probably something that's slow and not too hyper. So I'm super excited. And of course, Studio Shaft, so it's going to be pretty AF.
Oh, yeah.
So you're thinking maybe like less intense than Chiafuyu?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's going to have some funny moments, but there's going to be no crazy... it's not going to be over the top.
Yeah. To be clear, the three women we're seeing, the girls that we're seeing in the preview, those aren't his family.
No, it's his adopted family that he deals with.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't classify their works as healing anime, but they
No.
definitely are low key. Like they're just going to make you feel sad.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
I'm.
But in like a
reading
good
this right.
way.
Yes.
Like it's in a way that I find acceptable.
An acceptable sadness?
This was not a depressing manga to read.
No.
But it certainly was a. It certainly did make you feel
You
down.
would get gut punched.
Yeah, you feel bad about the situation that he's in, that he can't seem to find his way out of, that he's trying to get better at doing something and he can't break through.
And you'll definitely find a lot of parallels in your own life, usually.
Yeah.
It'll start making you think about your own failings and how you get through
And your
them.
own expectations.
really, really strong on isolation. Like this is really, like the manga was very much about isolation, and I think I do want to watch it because I've read
Okay,
it.
good. Because everything you're saying now is making me backing up my decisions to watch
Yeah,
the hell out of
yeah.
this. Let's move on then to something completely different. Gakuen Handsome.
You took this one, okay.
Yes. So you wanted to talk about shows that were goofy?
Or different art style, definitely.
man.
Oh man, this art style.
I don't know much about Gakuen Handsome, but I know that I like
Look at it.
really bad shit, and this looks so shitty, and it knows. So this is either going to be amazing or it's going to flop hard, and it's going to be pretty easy to tell right out of the gate. But yeah,
Please tell me what the story is.
I don't care.
But do you
No,
know?
Beej.
Oh, my understanding was this is based on a boy game. Like it's supposed to be like a dating sim.
Oh right, I think it is.
I think it is.
Where every time you go to the school, you are handsome.
Okay, you know, that makes it better for me, though.
And I don't know if it's a boy dating boy game, but it might be a boy dating boy game. It might be BL.
The art style, by the way, is a reference to, I guess, not a specific person's art style, but
No.
the way that children draw people.
Like high school students
Yeah.
draw handsome boys. Like you see it in Nichijou.
Yeah.
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 So they're like trying to mimic that anime style with the pointy chins, and they go a little too far.
Yeah.
So it's again, it also pushes my buttons of self-referential Japanese pop culture. So I'm going to be excited
I
to
just
see where
can't
this
believe
goes.
they made a series.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got to be cheap to make.
yeah.
We'll see how that goes. And finally, number 3, the first thing that we actually got to see this season, we're going to talk about Yuri on Ice, which is the worst case of flagrant false advertising I have ever seen.
I got so excited.
Yeah.
First off, there's 2 Yuris.
Yeah, there are 2 Yuris, but their names are Yuri. They are not Yuriing on ice or elsewhere.
Because they're both dudes.
Yes, that's very true.
And that's a little bit more accurate.
First point I want to make about this series is that it's an original OP. It's not based on a light novel. It's not based on a manga. This is straight to TV stuff. And it's rare that we get that these days, that a studio, especially a studio that's putting out this quality of work and that's willing to throw this much money into it, is going to put out something that's brand new. That's the next part. It's not a studio that I have seen a lot of stuff out of. It's Studio Mappa.
Oh, really?
And the only thing I could see out of their list that I actually enjoyed was Sakamichi no Apollon,
Really? Oh, yeah, okay.
which turned out to be a very good show in terms of its animation for its fluidity of movement.
Right.
Which is very important, as you can see, because they're doing a hell of a job animating these intricate, choreographed pieces of figure skating, which I believe they actually got actual figure skating coaches in to coach the animators on. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Director, Sayo Yamamoto. Director of Lupin III, The Woman Called Fujiko Mine. Storyboard and background art for Redline. Did an episode of Kimonozume as director. And was director on Space Dandy and the Viva Namida music video.
Oh.
So big ups in my books, and I think Cori's books as well on that. As for the story, it's about a kid named Yuri who was a figure skater who comes back to his hometown to get back into figure skating.
Where does the thing start? At the Sochi Olympics.
Yeah.
He's in the junior category at the Olympics.
And he finishes dead last
Yeah.
and gets a little fat and then goes back to his hometown, a failure, to maybe start figure skating again. But then it fakes you out. The show is not going to be about him having to lose weight and get better at figure skating and pick himself up off the bottom.
Because he's already started.
Turns out he's already started. He's pretty freaking amazing. And the end of the episode is this other Yuri.
No, not Yuri. Victor.
His figure skating hero, Victor, who had won the Sochi Olympics that year, has come to his town because his friend shot his figure skating practice session, and it went viral on the internet. This Victor has seen him do his own routine and has said, "I'm going to come here and coach you." So we don't have to...
Which he says, well, absolutely freaking naked.
Yes. And the boys have nipples.
So it's...
So there's a big riff. It ends with a naked muscle man.
Yep.
So-
And,
because everything about this made me think that this spirit of burning
Nope.
shonen competition and
Nope.
horseshit, but it's
Nope.
not.
This is straight ahead drama.
This is just,
Yep.
you're going to get better and I'm going to help you.
I'm gonna watch that one.
Yeah, and it looks really good.
You did like the first episode, right?
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Okay, just checking because sometimes
No,
it sounds a good thing and then it's disappointment.
there's a lot of hype over this right now.
Yeah,
and,
there really is.
And it looks to me that the hype is to be
It's warranted?
believed. Yeah.
Okay.
It leaves everything on the floor, and I'm excited to see the next episode. I was worried that this was going to be a K-On! About sports, and it's not. It's actually about the sports and the figure skating.
So, I just thought it was going to be Shonen Showdown.
Yeah.
I thought, and I'm like, that's not what I want. I would have preferred a K-On! For sports.
Very
But-
realistic, very drama heavy. And not drama in the sense of, everything's dramatic and sad and dark.
And somebody has to go to New York.
It's an actual story that's being played out here. And it's not being played for laughs. And I'm excited to see the rest of this. And those are my 3 shows for the season.
Would you say it's similar to, like, we've only seen about half of Ping Pong, but is it similar?
Drama-wise,
Okay.
not sports-wise.
Not sports-wise, and
Yeah.
definitely not art-wise.
No, but drama-wise, it's like, that's the idea is that the characters have their
Yeah,
own...
I think it's a little vague on the sports.
Okay.
So it's not going to go as precise as Ping Pong did, or focus, I guess, as heavily on it. It's going to be like a motivation for the characters, but the show itself is going to be more about the main character
Like,
finding himself,
Okay.
maybe.
I think the best way to put it is you could make this as a live-action series in North America.
Oh, okay.
And it would hit the TV.
Be better as a J-drama.
Yeah, I would prefer it as a J-drama.
Yeah.
But instead, we're going to get to see this thing beautifully animated.
I mean, the anime I'm sure will be good, but I prefer J-drama to a North American adaptation of anime.
But just to give you the level of seriousness that we're going to see in it. Cori.
My first pick is Cheating Craft.
Which, when I went to the website, you can translate the website into English or Chinese.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know how they're pushing this, but it's a studio I've never heard of.
I'm very curious to see this.
Yeah, and they're like 15-minute episodes, and there's only going to be 12. But,
All right.
yeah. So it's in a world where there are these school tests, and if you succeed, you can have a good life, and if you fail, you are one of the left behind.
So
Japan.
And so these students are like this elite school, and there's two different paths you can kind of go in your life as a student. You can do the learning type, which is you actually try at school, apparently, or
Or
the
you can
cheating
be these
type.
guys. Oh, wow.
And it's about the people that are the cheating types maybe working together with the learning types sometimes to succeed, and it's a battle series.
Oh, wow.
And because it's 15 minutes, they're all going to be very protracted.
They're going to be very protracted.
Wait.
It's short episodes.
That's in the curriculum.
The studio is Blade,
Cares.
and this is their first solo production. They've done helping
Right.
with a lot of stuff, but
I think I recognize some things in their opening bit, but
yeah.
I'm going to be paying very close
And it's
attention to
the
the loops here.
stupid shonen crap that I want. Like, there's a kid with a mechanical pencil gun.
Yeah, that's what
Okay, no,
caught
that's
me.
cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, excited.
Okay, looks like we've moved on to...
No, that's still cheating.
Yeah, it's still cheating
Okay.
craft. Yeah.
Okay, yes, this is. And it's got like a watercolory backgrounds thing going on that I like.
Lots of panning.
But lots of kanji in that beautiful...
Choppy style?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, my next pick is Drifters. Which is, like, the main character was in the Battle of Sekigahara. He's injured, he's walking around, he gets transported to a hallway with a lot of doors and shoved through a door into a world that's fantasy-like. There's, like, fairies and hobbits and goblins and stuff. And he's been summoned by a force of human magicians that are trying to defend themselves from being overrun, and there are other drifters, as they're called, like Nobunaga and Joan of Arc. And
Okay.
Right, because Nobunaga was not. That wasn't technically Warring States. That was like. He was like. That was the
the
start
end of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nobunaga came first, then Hideyoshi,
Then Tokugawa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's these figures from history like Rasputin, Anastasia, and yeah.
Now this is from the guy who brought us Hellsing.
Yeah, this is
This-
from a lot of the staff that
this-
brought you Hellsing.
This is not a comedy, though.
No,
Oh, no.
no, this is going to be violent. It's going to be very violent
Nice.
and stylish because like the character designer from Hellsing, the music from Hellsing, the director from Hellsing, the mangaka's Hellsing.
I saw two very different trailers for this, and one of them had me very excited, and the other left me very cold, and I'm worried. I'm hoping that the one that left me cold is going to be the one that was
Wrong.
wrong and aimed at North American viewers, because the one that got me was that opening shot of the Sekigahara battle with classical music behind it and just very slowly paced, very deliberate battle.
Yeah.
And the other one I saw was raging guitars and Dragon Ball Z solo,
Oh wow.
I think it's going to be really Hellsing. Like, if
Yeah.
you like Hellsing,
Yeah.
samurai battle.
Yeah, no, based on what I've seen from the art and Corey's description, it's probably going to be Hellsing.
it's going to be like the Hellsing OVA thing from 2006.
Yeah.
Bub's
Yeah.
one I liked, so hey.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be that.
Then good for you.
Yeah, good for me.
It's going to be that with all your favorite characters
Well,
like
I mean,
Nobunaga.
not everyone likes Hellsing. That's like the very violent show that's not typically a...
And we've seen from Fate that the character or Heroes Out of Time formula does kind of work, but I feel like this is different enough from the Fate
I've seen
trope.
plenty of shows that like to push historical characters in together, and I like that trope.
In as much as these are actual, real people who existed like that. The guy, is my understanding, the guy who's the main character was a real person who fought. He was a real samurai who fought at that battle. So that means that there's a folklore element that people in Japan were like, this guy's famous enough people are going to know who he is.
Yeah, but then they transport them to a world with elves.
Yeah.
So
it's a little fish out of water, but it is.
And also, like, the character design's really
Loose.
no, it's like unexpected. Like the guy with the eye patch that's grinning is Nobunaga.
that is unexpected.
Yeah, like unrecognizable character designs. Yeah.
Interesting.
My third pick. Oh yeah, and the director directed the first 3 series of JoJo.
Oh!
Not Diamond Doesn't Breakable, the first 3.
Yeah. I probably ran into him in my travels. In the internet, not the actual man.
When you were looking for information about staff.
Excuse me.
My third pick is Fune no Amu, The Great Passage.
So Fune. Yeah, Fune.
Fune.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is about some workers at a publishing company that are working on a dictionary.
Hello.
Right.
So this
Yes.
is there's a guy, he's been a senior editor for a long time. He meets a marketer or a salesman from another department and recruits him to his team because he's friends with someone, and it's just them trying to make this mid-sized Japanese dictionary called The Great Passage.
Oh man, that
And about,
paddle
I
art
guess,
style.
them just being in an office together.
Maya Sakamoto's in this.
I mean, I was already down for it, and now...
Yeah, no,
She's probably going to play an One-san.
I think this is probably one of the shows we're all going to end up watching.
I think we all marked this down as something we're into.
I'm
Yeah.
sold.
I don't know why, because it's just like the description is just like, oh, they do mediocre things.
This is one of those series too, or that's got a lot of pedigree behind it, because I believe it was a drama and a movie and also a mug, so it's popular.
I've seen a number of shows where it's just like, this guy wants to work over here, but now he's over here working with this guy doing like manga or something, and it has nothing to do with the manga. And I like those shows, so I was just like,
But I think this show
sounds the
has
same.
everything to do with the premise, where it's just like they're trying to make a dictionary.
But the pages look like they leapt out of things and magic happened.
So,
I think it's
how
a
dictionaries
metaphor.
you know how we do improv, right?
No.
No.
Yeah, you know how
I'll say yes.
you and I do improv,
Yeah,
right?
hello,
Yes,
I'm improv actors.
Exactly. And part of like the one of the bigger rules is this is I think why I cottoned onto this as fast as I did, is because it's like when you get something from the audience, try to get the most mundane thing you can get, because then the juxtaposition between the mundane thing that you are doing and the actual story you're able to build out of that mundane thing heightens the comedy or heightens the drama of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that I got this immediately. Like, why I was like, I think I need to watch this, because I'm like, everything about making a dictionary sounds about as appealing as reading the dictionary. And yet, there's got to be a reason why somebody said we need to sit down and make an entire series about this.
Yeah.
So what are they able to elevate from this idea of
There's magic.
a person who just writes words and descriptions?
I mean, I
I'm
know
like,
it's-
no, there's got to be something there. It's the same reason why I was so interested, like our friend Brian, who worked in Wikipedia. I wanted to hear more about what it's like to edit Wikipedia.
I think you might be getting something different out of this then. Because
Yeah, I imagine I am, but
Well-
that's what got me.
That does line up with what I was so excited about Diamond is Unbreakable thing. Where I was just like, it's so low stakes! Yes!
Yeah, how are they going to elevate it? How are they going to make it feel...
No, it's very personal.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, because everything is so overblown a lot of the time in story, and this allows us to get a glimpse into a job that we're not familiar with, into a process we're not familiar with, like Shirobako,
Yeah.
and then just have interpersonal stuff happen.
And one of the things that I really enjoy getting out of Japanese culture is this juxtaposition of passion and dedication, and where those align and where they don't align. Because in Japan traditionally you've trained to do one thing and you do that job for life and you get very good about it, and you have your hobby and you get really good at your hobby, and that's the thing those are the things you do, your inner and your outer.
So we could see that realized through the one guy who's brought into the department who's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm dedicated to the company.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I guess I'm going to have to learn how to do this, whereas the guy he's working for, senior editor, might actually be very passionate about the project.
And he's looking for a successor.
Yeah, and at that point he's got to try to either bring out that same passion in that guy, or at least help him to understand why this is something important.
Right.
And that's a very unique point of view that we don't see in North American stories very often. And I really enjoy seeing it in.
So we all want something different out of this same series
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
all very interested in seeing.
Like I know it's not like magic. I know it's more of a metaphor thing, but I really appreciate that as opposed to talking heads,
Right.
which sometimes series like this can turn into.
Yeah, I mean it's an animated environment. It can be fantastical, a little bit easier than that seemed to be harder to do
Yeah.
with the camera. So that's your 3?
Yep.
Okay. I think we should spend a good 30 seconds talking about one series that none of us are going to watch this season. And I specifically don't want to. I brought it up now because we don't have a clip for it because I don't want to show a clip for it.
But now I'm thinking about it. I can see it in my head.
So Keijo is a story of a young woman who is very good at gymnastics and is being sought after by many teams and towns. But she just wants to play a game called Keijo, where women...
No. Her family is in poverty, so she's doing a gambling game thing called Keijo
She
so that
wants
she
to
can
do it.
She wants to do it because it's a new thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
She
but
wants...
so she can get money.
Keijo is a game where women in bikinis
Swimsuits, not all of them are in bikinis.
Stand
Yeah.
on a platform and try to knock each other off with their butts and boobs.
And the platform is floating in the water, and you're only allowed to touch each other with your butts and your boobs.
Yep.
Yep.
If this series were made in 2003, ADV would have dubbed it and called it Bikini Butt Battles.
They might not have put the butt in there, but
Absolutely not wrong about any of that.
And the first disc would have come with its own chipboard case for you to put the rest of the episodes into.
It's a really, really ridiculous premise that is really, really obvious for what it is.
I appreciate
yes.
that it is what it is.
and
It's
yeah.
not being deceptive
And it
in any
knows
way.
what it is.
yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's really funny.
In a
I don't
way-
want to watch it, but it's really funny.
In a way that Hibiki Euphonium pretends to be something else. Keijo knows what it is and just says, yes, we are a show about women in boobs.
Part of I think what puts that across too is the 8 exclamation marks in its name.
Did you count them?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Yuri-
it's a-
Like Yuri on Ice has
Has 3.
Yeah,
which is
but-
insane.
But Keijo has 8.
Yeah.
And
Are you going to watch Keijo?
if I was 20 years old, I probably might have.
Okay, good.
Look, Keijo is probably the only anime where the girls are going to get animated with their spines moving in directions that would literally snap them in half, but I would probably not notice because I'd be too busy going, wow, that butt is like rocketing across the platform.
I need to say something. I need to say something about this. Is that obviously the 4 of us were not going to watch it, but we've all seen the PV.
Yep.
Because we're like,
And I've actually seen it show up on Twitter a bunch
Yeah,
lately.
no,
but
like,
I didn't know what it was, but I saw
It's all
pictures
over
because it's
Twitter.
like butts making
it's
contact
all
with
over,
people.
It's over Crunchyroll, all
So-
over their stuff. It is going to be the thing that they are going to be selling,
Sure,
and
yeah.
it's going to be popular.
yeah, they're pushing. I mean, Mary Cagle already tweeted some
Yeah.
things about it, which I thought was great. The point I was going to make, though, in regards to is that we know that we're not going to watch it.
Yes.
We don't know who out there who's listening to this, fans of Loading Ready Run, even just fans of ours. If you're listening to this, you might want to watch this and have at her. And that's
We
great.
were never going to
And
stop people, Beej.
Yeah, I know. But the reason I said I would watch this if I was 20, I wasn't trying to allege that because I am much older now, I am much more mature and of a different outlook or whatever. It's like, no, literally, if I was 20 years old, I probably would have been like, sweet, boobs and butts, why not? Click, watch, whatever. Because back then, I hadn't watched that much anime also at the same time.
You weren't just totally bored.
Just a huge
by-
horn dog and I mean,
Yeah.
because I was. But I would have probably watched it and been like, yeah, sure, I'm all over this kind of thing. I don't know if it's going to end up having good story or not having good story, or if it's going to be, one thing or another. But these days, I don't have time to integrate it into my life, and I think it's a funny thing that exists. I think it's funny, and I certainly don't think it's going to be of any great artistic value. But I'm not trying to say this, therefore, is like it's no good.
No, I think it's bad. And it's okay to like bad things.
Yeah.
If I hadn't watched a lot of anime, I would probably watch it just to see it because I do think it looks funny. But from the one scene in the PV where the two girls just like smack breasts really hard together with speed lines.
That was painful.
Yeah, all I could think of was, this looks really painful.
The weird thing I found out in my research today.
This entire show is just going to make me think of pain every time I see it.
Speaking of painful shows with weird bending spines and wrong moving boobs, Bento.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But one of these, I can't remember which one, but one of the 6 series I mentioned today was directed as well by the guy who did Bento.
Yeah.
And you can make good things, and then you can also make
I liked
terrible things.
Bento.
I like Bento as well because it exactly knew what it was.
Yeah.
It was so
Stupid.
But the only reason I bring up Keijo, I wanted to put it out there at the end of the show,
That we're aware of it.
is yes, I want you all out there to know that we know that it exists, and we are not going to be watching it, so you don't have to ask us.
I don't know. I think someone could pay me a lot of money to watch it.
Something that from 2 seasons ago that I think we all agree that everyone should watch is Space Patrol Luluko.
Oh yes,
Yes.
we
So
should mention that as well.
Watch that instead.
Because
Best
it is perfect.
Anime of the year.
Yeah.
Anime of the year. So any other final comments?
Yeah, we're only doing this every 3 months.
We
Keep
covered
that in mind.
We covered that.
Yeah, but I'm doing it at the end so everyone
Okay.
remembers.
Any
Okay.
final comments at all?
The thoughts and views of the 4 people on this podcast do not necessarily reflect the thoughts and views of Loading Ready Run
Or even each other.
or even all
Or
of
Bionic
us.
Trousers Media.
Yeah.
For email, please email Beej at beej.net.
Don't.
Good
We don't
luck.
know where that leads. Please don't.
That said, we would like to thank everyone out there for all of the support you give us via just the comments you leave in the comments section on loadingreadyrun.com in the forums. And for those of you who choose to support us by Twitch subscriptions or at our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. It's what helps us actually do these sorts of podcasts and all the great shows here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Entertainment Network. Thank you so much for your support.
If you didn't know we stream on Twitch TV. So go check those out.
I do have one last thing, actually, I want to mention. We missed a season.
Yes.
We're not going to go back and review that
No,
season.
except for Luluko, because you have to watch that because it's perfect.
the
we
only
just
thing we
decided to
remember.
move forward.
It's the one thing we remembered from that gas leak time in our lives.
I mean, that was great fantasy.
So thanks so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you all next season.
Bye.